Welcome to IDIN, the company that simplifies your workflow. Our modern software is made in a historic castle, with origins dating back to 1331. In this video, you will learn how to create an Excel import definition in ConnectIT and learn more about creating an import definition for an Excel file. When we are in the ConnectIT dashboard, you see under the menu item import, the menu item definitions and example definitions. If you have set the example definitions, you will see a few examples that you can use. I will demonstrate in this video an Excel file for importing sales orders. As you can see in this definition, when the data format is set on Excel, that most of the other tabs in the definition card are the same as when using the data format JSON. In the General tab, the number is created from the number series. It is possible to use manual numbers or change the number. Please note that changing the numbers has impact if functions or conversions are used. The description is free to fill in. In the field data format, the file type Excel is selected. This means that we are going to import only Excel files. The method manually is selected, so I can import a file from the definition card. There is also a separate tab for the configuration of the Excel file. In this case, we will import a non-flat Excel, so the header is marked as HDR, and the lines are marked as LN. In Training 4, we have demonstrated how you can work with non-flat CSV files. This works the same as Excel files. If we take a look into the Excel file, you see which columns can be used. First, we are going to take a look at the definition lines. In the definition lines, the mapping is defined. In the training video 2 with the JSON file, it was visible that there were layers. When you select Excel, there are no layers and the columns are a little bit different. In the definition lines, you will start with selecting the right tables in the column table number. After that, you define what field in the table is used, and then you set the right column from the file. Just like the JSON and XML import definitions, it is possible to add functions. In the functions, you can store temporary values, transform the data, or get other values from other tables. In a later chapter, we will take a look at how you can use the functions. The field external identifier is set when it is a unique value that can be used to recognize the record. Validate is using the BC rules to check if the imported value is valid, and this is also used to add information form BC. For example, if you add the item number with the validation on, the description will also be used from the item card. Run trigger is used for key fields only. This is used to import the record value first thing. The field new record is used to set if the record does not exist to create or do nothing when importing it. The external identifier must be set on some value in the import file to recognize the record. Otherwise, it will always create a new record. Record exists is set on the table level if an update is needed. There are more options: do nothing, that will not do anything when the record already exists. Recreate will delete and then add a new record. Duplicate will create an extra record, and delete will remove the record. This field also only works properly if you have set a unique identifier. Otherwise, it will not recognize the record and will import it as a new record. The column field exists is only used for the field level to decide if a field needs to be updated or do nothing, and it will be skipped. If there are multiple tables used in the definition lines, the key fields also need to be set. The key fields are used to connect separate tables. For example, the sales header and lines need to have the same key fields. If you don't set these fields, the lines can be imported under the wrong header. Under the Create button, it is possible to show the lines as a tree. In the tree, it is also possible to change the following order of the fields. Next to the Show as Tree button, there is an option to set the import filters. With this, you can filter on data with standard Business Central signs, like in this example. In this example, you also see that there is not much data available in the file. This is not enough to create an order. This can be solved by using the constant values. In the constant values, it is possible to add key fields to create a new record in a table. For example, one of the key fields is the document number or line type. You can set this up by adding the table number in the object number, select the field number, and then add the constant value. In the functions, it is also possible to get a temporary value, a converted value, or a function that will get or calculate a value. For example, if you need to set the number series, it is possible to add the function number series. The processing policy is used to set the value on a specific moment in the import. Key fields are always first set. Standard after key will be set. Other options are before field, after field, or last. To use the field before or after, you need to select a field from the definition to set the value before a field is loaded. This can be used when a temporary value is set after a certain field. Last is the value to be set at the end of the import. This is used when you want to overrule a value that will be set by BC. The validate, run, trigger, and field exist options are doing the same thing as they do in the definitions. Constant values can also be used to fill another table with data from the same import file. For example, to set the general journal table, like in the example in Training 3 where we have added costs from Amazon into the item ledger entries. To import an Excel file, it requires some additional settings to be able to import the file. In the tab Excel, you can set if the Excel file has a header, the field Excel has header should be turned on. If the file is protected with a password, you can set the password in the field password. The password will be encrypted, so it will not be visible to others and cannot be copied from the field. In this case, we import a non-flat Excel file. Flat import means that the header information is in the same line as the line information. In the previous training, we have explained more about flat and non-flat data in CSV and Excel files. For Excel files, this works the same as a CSV file. In the field parent table and child table, you can set, in this case, the sales header and the sales line. If you only want to import data in one table, you can fill only the parent field. It is not possible to add more than 2 tables, but if you need to store data in additional tables, it is possible to do this in the constant values like we have seen in Training 3, importing an XML file. In the previous chapter, we have seen what kind of options there are in the import definition. It is time to create a new definition. In this case, I have an Excel file to import purchase orders. For Excel files, it is not possible to use the import wizard, and you will see that the settings are a bit different. Click on the description, and you will see that the number is set automatically. Fill in the description. The data format has to be set on Excel, and now activate the definition. Otherwise, processing will not work. If we open the Excel file, we can check what kind of specific settings we need to do. We see there is a header, and there is one line with header info and line info, so it is a flat import. And at the end, there is a comment that we also want to store in the fact box notes. In the Excel tab, we will set the Excel has header on and turn the flat import on. In the field parent table, we select table 38 for the purchase header, and we will set the child table on 39 for creating the purchase line. If you are not sure what table to use, ask an experienced consultant or IT manager for help. System tables and tables that contain posted data are not suitable to use in an import. Now we can go to the definition lines. In the first column, you can select the table 38 purchase header, and the parent caption will be automatically filled. In the column field number, you can select the fields that you want to fill with the import. In this case, the order number is in the file in column 1. We will connect this to the number. Here also, the caption will be filled automatically, and in the field column, you set the number of the column. We can mark this field as external identifier, because it is a unique field, and if this is set, ConnectIT knows that if the order is imported again, that this is an update. We will set the field new record on create, so this means that always a new order is created, and set the record exist on update, so existing records will be updated. It is possible to use a field from the import file multiple times. For example, the order number can also set as your reference number. If there are fields in the Excel file you don't want to use, it is also possible to just skip these columns. You only have to create the lines in the definition that you want to use. In the next line, we will add the vendor number. In this line, the validation is turned on, so the name, address, and all the other settings will be filled in from the vendor card. The field new record and record exists is again set on the same values as the order number. This is different than explained in training 2 and 3 that JSON and XML. For JSON and XML, you only have to set this for the first line, and all the other lines will use the same setting, and only differences need to be set. For Excel files, you need to set this for each line. The next field date will be stored in the order date on the purchase order. I will also set the fields for the purchase lines. In the Excel file, we check in what column the field is. For example, the item number is in column 5. But as we look into the file, these are not the item number that we use in BC. We need to set a function for this to get the item number from the table item reference number. So click on the functions, add the code getFieldValue2, and then select the item reference table 5777. Click on the field reference number and select, in this case, the reference number, because the vendor item number is registered in this column. Then select the output field number and look up the item number field, so the item number will be the output of this function. The description, unit of measure, and other settings for the item will be used from the item card by turning the validation on. Also, columns from the Excel file that doesn't need to be set in a table field can be used, for example, to set a function. In this case, we want to store the comment in the notes. Create a new line and only set the column number, and then click on the functions. Fill in the code add note and fill in the description comment vendor, and you can set the field skip if empty to use a default value, for example, no comments. For this moment, the definition lines look good. We need to add some more settings to create the purchase order. I will demonstrate what happens if you are importing the file when you don't add all the key fields and settings. Go to Process, click on Import Data, select the file. Go to the green bar and click on Open Created Entry. In this page, you see the information about the definition, but it is not possible to look at the data. This is different than when using CSV, XML, or JSON. There is no data in a buffer table where the data is stored before processing. Click on Process. Congratulations, you have created your first BC message. In the last error fact box, you see a standard Business Central message. This check is preventing that we store data in the tables that don't belong there or are set incorrect. Under Show Error Information, it is possible to view the technical information about the error. Our support team can ask for this. Go back to the definition by clicking on the back button on top. In the history fact box, you see that the import failed. You can click on the log to see what is the message. In the message, you see a standard BC message about the number series. If you want to import a document and use the external order number, the default number series, the option manual numbers should be turned on. Now we need to fix some things. First, we are going to set the manual number on in the number series. Now, go back and let's start with adding all the key fields that BC needs to process. And we also see a lot of missing fields in the order line. Go to the menu links and click on Edit Key Links. Select the parent table number and the key field number, and then the child object number that links to the table, and then select the same child field. If the link between header and lines is set, we need to set the default values. We will do this in the constant values. In this case, we are going to set the key fields for the header first, and afterwards we will set the fields for the lines. Click on the object number to select the header. Click on the field number to add the document type. For the header, add the constant value 1 for orders. You can use the name orders, but if you use multiple languages, it is possible. BC will not figure out that Common Day in French is an order. Using numbers will prevent this kind of misunderstanding. All the key fields for the header are set. The next field will be set on the line, so we are going to select the table 39. The field type and line number need to be set. The field type will be set with a constant value for now. Out of the line number is available in the Excel file, it is better to use a function to prevent that the external party is using a different logic than BC. The line number can be set with a function getNextLinino, set the field where the line number is, and then set an increment. This function will look into the sales lines and get the previous line and increment it with a set value. Let's check if we can process our first import without any messages. There are two options. You can import the file again, or you can use the record that we have tried to import previous. Go to the Related button and then click on Import Entries. Click on the entry number and click on Process again. Still, there is a standard BC message about the vendor. If we click on Yes for this manual action, you see that the header is empty. That means the entry no longer exists.
In a real situation, you need to fix this, for example, to not update the vendor when the order already exists.
Go back to the previous page and go in the Related menu to the Imported Records. In the imported records, the created orders are visible and the external identifier is visible. Let's have a look at the purchase orders. In the order that is created, we see that the order is there. And all the lines are successfully created. Congratulations, your first orders are imported. In this video, you learn how to create an Excel import definition in ConnectIT. ConnectIT 365 includes one free interface with additional interfaces available. Thank you for watching. Follow us at www.ydnl to check out other products. Happy connecting!